All right, you guys got problems. You're telling me about them. And they're not problems, don't worry. We're gonna fix them all. So today's video, I'm gonna show you what some call an issue, a problem, or actually it might just be general maintenance and how to properly care for your Kamado Joe. But I'm so happy to answer your questions. These are the 5 most commonly asked ones that I've received. If I didn't cover yours, let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to add it to a future video. But don't worry, we're gonna get you fixed up and back out and grilling and enjoying the weather and your grill in no time. Let's dive into the 5 things that you asked me for help on. First, and I get this one a lot, is all of a sudden my grill won't come up to temperature. This one is easy to fix. Let's do it. All right, let's do this first one. So, good news is it's only one of 2 things. We've got fuel and we've got air. So if we start to go through our checklist of why you may not be getting up to temperature, the first and easiest thing I would look for is you have too little or too much charcoal, because either of these can help or hurt you when you're trying to get up to temperature. I would obviously start with the obvious 2 and just make sure that you've got your vent settings all the way open. Most people have already done that when they reach out and ask a question and they're saying, I'm doing all the right things. I don't have too much charcoal that I'm blocking all my airflow. I don't have too little charcoal in order to get up to temperature. I'm doing everything right and I still can't get above 450 degrees. And so when that happens, it's time for spring cleaning. And you should be doing this about every 6 to 12 months. But what can happen if you do a lot of smoking and you use wood chunks that tend to ash up some more, you can get some ash behind your firebox and that builds up and accumulates over time. And if left alone, it can block some of your airflow. So I'm going to show you how to remove everything, clean it, and get you back to grilling in no time. Bring a little closer so we can take one of these apart and clean it up. All right, let's get started and remove everything. Okay, so while this doesn't look too bad, since I was not having any troubles getting up to temperature, there's not that much ash there, but I want to point a couple of things out, and I'm going to show you a little modification trick that I do when I reassemble my Joes. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the ash pan with the ash catcher tool, which is really great for catching a lot of ash. But what you'll notice behind that and underneath those wings is you get some ash piling up. And so over time, as that starts to pile up, there's quite a bit there, that will slowly start to interfere with your airflow. So if that's happening to you, all we have to do, pretty simple fix, is give this a wipe down and clean it out and we'll put it back together. I'm going to take you fast forward while I do that, and when we put it back together, I'm going to show you a little trick. If you haven't seen my how to assemble the Kamado Joe before, there's a little trick in there that makes these fire ring inserts much easier to do when you're alone. So fast forward mode we go. Okay, so when we assemble this to put it back together, as I mentioned, we're gonna skip putting this ash catcher tool right on the bottom, and instead we're just gonna use our ash pan tool. I find what that does is it still catches most of the ash, but it doesn't give the opportunity for ash to get in behind and build up. So it just makes it a little bit easier to go a little bit longer before you have to do this clean. Let's put everything back the way that it should be. Very important when you put this first piece in to make sure that the air opening lines up with your bottom draft door. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a peek and make sure that I have that lined up, because that just helps make sure we get great convection airflow when we're doing our nice low slow cooks. All right, that looks good to me. Now we're going to reinstall our firebox. Okay, so one of the things that can be a little tricky if you haven't seen this hack is how do you get this ring back on top of these inserts? you can get one in position, but you no sooner wrestle it in position, the other one falls out. So I'm gonna show you something that'll save you a lot of time and headache. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab some paper towel, make it into a little ball, and we're going to put it behind each of these pedestals to hold them out, so it's much easier to slide our ring right in place. Okay, I'll just move the camera here, sorry if it jiggles on you a bit. But you can now see our our pedestals are separated from the base and ready for that ring to go on top. That'll be much easier. And those little pieces of toilet paper or paper towel, whatever you use, will burn up really quick on one of your first few high heat cooks. So I'll go back to fast forward as we put the ring on and start to reassemble our charcoal basket and our divide and conquer rack. Alright, that was easy. I know it's hard to tell with fast forward and different camera cuts, but that is only a couple minutes to get everything out, clean it, and put it back together, and that little trick will save you so much hassle trying to assemble everything. That was easy. Let's see what else you guys got. On to number 2. My hinge won't stay in place. I've heard that one. This is not so much an issue so much as that's just maintenance. This one is even quicker to fix. Let's do it. All right, so for this fix, all you need is a 15mm wrench and about 30 seconds of time. You're gonna open up your dome and you're going to adjust this little nut here on the back. I'll go fast forward while we tighten that and then check to see if our dome stays in place. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. Anywhere we go, the airlift hinge is staying in place. I think we're ready to get grilling. Let's see what you got for number 3. I told you that one was going to be a quick and easy one. Let's see what's on for our third question. What do I do if I notice mold or mildew inside of my dome? First thing I'm going to say, you should be cooking more. And the second thing I'm going to say, that's it. You cook more, high temperature heat, it's gone. Let me show you a little bit of a close-up what that might look like, but the easiest way to make this go away is just fire up your Kamado Joe and you'll be back in business in no time. Okay, I don't know if that's coming through or not. You can see a couple of those spots on the back. I've just done a high heat cook, so those are all gone. But if you ever see anything like that on the back of your dome or anywhere in the dome inside the grill, again, fire it up and you're good to go. Let's move on to number 4. All right, our fourth issue that we're gonna fix for you and get you back in business is what happens when my vent cap starts to stick. And so I've just recently cleaned these so they're in good working order, they're not sticking, but there's a couple things you can do. One, if it's an emergency and you just need to get cooking, maybe in the middle of winter, I had this happen to me a few times where this was just completely stuck. So if you have a map torch or a loaf lighter, what you do is you just open up your dome and hold a little bit of heat in there, and that will melt any of that hardened fat, or if it was, in my case, ice, it'll help melt that out of the way and get you cooking no time. But if that's something that after doing a few low and slow cooks, you find that this is just starting to get gummed up and isn't working, you can do 2 things. One, you can just try cleaning it with regular water. I found that a stove top grease cutting cleaning solution works best, and if you want to reseason them, if your control tower tops start to look a little bit seasoned or worn out after a while, as mine have already done, what I did is I treated them like cast iron. I just rubbed them with some olive oil, put them in the oven at 500 degrees, and they came out looking actually significantly better than they were before I had done that. So those are a few quick things you can do to get back in business right away. Melt whatever your issue is. 2, clean it with a degreaser like you would for any stovetop appliance. Or 3, if you want to reseason it and try and restore some of that finish, just like cast iron, you can use a little bit of olive oil at 500 degrees for an hour and just let it cool in there until it's cool to the touch and you're ready to go again. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, and just like that, we are at the end of another video and we're on to our last question, which is, my temp gauge is not working properly. So first, this is even easier to fix than anything else that we've done. All you have to do is unscrew the nut on the back of your temperature dial, take it inside, get a pot of water boiling. Water will boil about 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and you'll hold your temp dial in there and see what your gauge is reading. The only way that I've ever discovered that this is not right is by using electronic probes, and all of a sudden I start saying, well, that's odd. The temperature that I'm getting on one of these two is not right. Over time, with high heat cycles, with our Canadian winters that we get here, the expansion and contraction inevitably will throw your dial out a little bit. That's no problem. Take it in, put it into some boiling water, and there's a set screw on the back of it that you can adjust up or down until it reads the proper temperature for boiling water. Once you're done, you're good to go. I recommend checking this about every 6 months. It never gets too far out of whack, but it's very much possible to have, 30 to 40 to 50 degrees difference. And when you're spending all that time and energy trying to master holding at 225 degrees for a low and slow cook, you don't want to be thrown off or confused from one cook to another based off of getting any sort of different reading. While I have you, also under the notion of spring cleaning and maintenance, another great tip is to check your bands. These come pre-tightened from the factory, and very seldom have I ever noticed them loose, but you're going to want to go ahead and tighten your bands. Again, I would suggest check them just every 6 to 12 months. Hope you really enjoyed today's video. If I didn't answer your question, or you have another issue or problem or something that's just holding you back from being out and grilling any night of the week, let me know in the comments below. If I can help fix it for you, I'll be more than happy to reach out, answer your question, and or use it to make a video and share with others if they have the same problem. Anyways, before I lose you, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. See you then.